Welcome to the Central Alabama High School Sports Show podcast, brought to you by Andrew Sports Medicine, Land of Frost, Hamburger Heaven, Huffman Electric, and State Farm.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to this week's podcast of the Central Alabama High School Sports Show. We've got two outstanding coaches tonight. Both of them are football coaches, and they'll be bringing some of their players. We look forward to talking with them. And then talking about football, as we mentioned last week, we're getting closer and closer to the playoffs. The games they play now are having playoff implications, whether they win or lose. So it's a very important time of the season for them. And talking about the playoffs, just want to give you an idea of how well the teams here in the Birmingham-Jefferson County are in football and volleyball doing, because there's a lot of them doing very well and could possibly win championships. Like in football, Class 7A, we've got Thompson, number 2, Hoover, number 4, Mountain Brook, number 5, and Hewitt-Trussville, number 6, all in the top 10 in 7A. And I guarantee you any of these teams, if they got hot, could possibly win a championship. In Class 6A, ranked number 1 in the state, as a matter of fact, is Pinson Valley. And we've got Clay Chalkville, Homewood, Jackson, Olin, McAdoo. All these teams are doing very well in 6A. And in 5A, Briarwood, Mortimer Jordan, Ramsey are all in the top 10. Fultondale in 3A is in the top 10. And in AISA, Bessemer Academy, who we've had the coach on from there, they're number 4. So there's a lot of teams in the football community here in the Birmingham-Jefferson County area that are going to have a great shot at winning a championship. And volleyball is big here for the girls. And in Class 7A, we've got 5 teams in the top 10 in the state. Mountain Brook, Hoover, Spain Park, Vestavia, and Thompson all playing very well. In Class 6A, Pelham and Helena are in the top 10, and in Class 5A, the Ramsey girls. So once again, a lot of representation there. We're getting closer to the end of the season where every game becomes important, every match, because it might determine whether or not they get into the playoffs. So that's what it's all about. That's what these coaches and these players do all that work for. We got 2 outstanding coaches we're going to be visiting with, and we'll get right back to visiting in just a moment. Don't you go away. We'll be right back.
The community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. No, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven. A taste of heaven is always best. Now you know that you're blessed. Give your taste a whole new spin. Bring your friends and come on in. Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven.
Land of Frost Premium is America's best-selling 1-pound deli pouch, now available in 12 delicious flavors, including new flavors of mesquite turkey and cotto salami. High school athletes across the country ask for Land of Frost by name. These great items are available at your local grocer, including Piggly Wiggly, Food Giant, Western supermarkets, and many more. Land of Frost also makes other varieties of lunch meats, including deli shaved bistro and sub sandwich kits. Land of Frost is a proud sponsor of youth sports as well.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine, orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine, with shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Injury Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, postoperative decisions, preoperative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making. That gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them. We're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing and as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Injury Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.
And folks, welcome back. And as we talked about in the opening, got two outstanding high school football coaches with us tonight. And the first gentleman sitting next to me, Scott Manziel, the head coach of the Hueytown Golden Gophers. And Coach, what we generally try to do when we have a coach here for the first time, tell us a little bit about your background and what has led you to be the head coach there at Hueytown.
Well, I started my coaching career at Curry High School, actually, where I graduated from, and then moved to Coleman. Stayed there 2 years. I bounced around 2 years at a time. I went to Coleman, stayed 2 years. Was offered a defense coordinating job at Bob Jones, one of the biggest schools in the state, and I took that job. And then I had another coaching buddy take the Sparkman job, and went over there and been defense coordinator for him. And I made my way back home, and at Walker High School, I spent 9 years as a defense coordinator, and then had an opportunity to come to Hueytown shortly after that, and I've been at Hueytown for 5 years.
Well, now tell us a little bit about this year's team, and I know you've got a team that's should make some noise in the playoffs, I believe.
Hope so. We're very senior oriented, and our junior class is really good. So it's a real good combination. We've got our offensive line. We got 4 out of 5 seniors there. Our defensive line is the same way. So we've got some really good kids up front, and of course that's where you win football games.
Right.
Is on the line. So
we'll talk about, from that standpoint, talk about your offense, your defense, and your special teams.
Well, offensively, we're a two-back offense, and we've got a electric running back in Roydell Williams. He's having a spectacular year. He's got offers from Alabama, Auburn, Florida, LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, a lot of offers. Our other running back has got several offers. He's just a junior also, Antonio Mason. He's got FAU, Memphis, Southern Miss, and all the schools in Alabama, the smaller schools. But we're a two-back, and we like to run the football. We usually try to throw it about 10 to 15 times a game, just to keep people honest and stuff like that. But we rely heavily on the run. Defensively, again, we pride ourselves on stopping the run. We're only giving up about 11 points a game right now defensively, so real proud of how our defense has grown. We base out of a 4-man front, but we will get in a 3-man front. I've got a new kicker on special teams, Ismail Torres. He's come in and did a real good job this year on our special teams, and we put our running backs back there to return kicks, and Roydell had a 100-yard kickoff return last week. So we feel like we can be explosive in the special teams also. Well,
now, as you get closer to the playoffs, your team has played good football pretty much the whole season, hasn't it?
Yeah, we feel like we have, and we feel like we're getting better every week. I thought it was real good that we played Homewood the first game of the season, real good test for us. We've been playing some easier teams first game of the season, and we've been winning, and then just wasn't carrying it over into getting better every week. And Homewood sort of was a wake-up call for us, and my kids really responded after that loss and have run off 6 straight.
Well, now I know it's a head coach's job to make out the schedule. Mm-hmm. Now, when you do that, the region teams you're going to be playing. But what I like to ask coaches about are those non-region games. Now, and what is your philosophy about it? Are you one of these coaches that you'd like to schedule a game or two where you may not win them. The teams are pretty good, but you'll find out if you're improving or not. Or you want to play one or two of those games where you're equal.
I think I think it comes down. Most of the time, your team coming up the next year, what you're going to have and stuff like that. We're under 2-year contracts. I really felt like we were going to be a solid football team this next 2 years, and we scheduled Homewood, which is a top program. We scheduled Briarwood, which was a state was in the state championship game last year. A Coleman team that is traditionally an 8-9 win team. And then we felt like Helena, we picked up Helena, and we felt really good about where Coach Busby was probably going to take that team. They're going to have a solid foundation there. So we felt like we had 4 really good competition non-region games. So.
Well, now talk about it, and one of the most important factors in how well you and your team does is injuries, and there's always bumps and bruises. But I guess, has your team been fortunate? Have you been able to escape major injuries to key parts of your team? Or is it just one of those years where, the bumps and bruises we've had, been able to work through them okay?
We've stayed pretty healthy. I have one D lineman that had to miss part of a ball game, but he came back the next week. So for the most part, we've been really lucky on the injury part. Like I said, we've had bumps and bruises, but the kids have been able to play through it.
Now, going back to the offensive side of the football, what is your philosophy? And what I mean by that, would you rather put together a balanced attack, or would you rather to throw more, or are you one of these coaches that what your talent can do best may dictate what you do, or if you see something that they could do better a different way, you want to do it your way?
I think every year you got to evaluate your talent and fit your offense around what you've got. If you try to force an offense and you say you're a run guy and you don't have a running back, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. So we evaluate our talent every year. And so we may change offenses next year. It just depends on what we've got. And right now we've got 2 really good running backs.
Right.
So we feel like we can break defenses down just by running the football.
Well, and I know, like you said, I think you, if I heard you correctly, you opened with a loss, but you've been perfect since then.
Yes, correct.
Now, having said that, I think that and tell me about how you feel about the situation. Most coaches, I believe, like to, if you're lucky, you escape the peaks and valleys. You'd like to be as steady as you can, but I think in a perfect world for a head football coach or any sport, you want your team peaking toward the end of the season with the playoffs around the corner. Is that your philosophy and the way you try to have your team operate so as toward the end of the year they're playing their best football?
Yeah, obviously we want to be playing great when it comes to playoff time, and we struggled a little bit last week, which was good because we'd been cruising pretty good. We were scoring a lot of points, and our defense was playing really well. Last week we faced a little bit of adversity, what I call adversity, and we could actually get onto our players. We got inside the 10-yard line twice and come away with no points. Right. So we felt like, after the ball game, we could have won the ball game a lot more handily, and we didn't. And so just a lot. We had 2 turnovers. And so just that kind of stuff we can improve on, and so it was good to have a little bit of adversity last week.
Well, and I was going to say the same thing. You've been so successful all year. You don't want the kids to be lulled into thinking it's too easy.
Yeah, correct. I mean, like I said, and that's the biggest thing. It's been really hard on the coaches because we have been blowing a lot of teams out and scoring a lot of points and holding teams to low points. And so, like I said, it was good for us, and our toughest opponents are coming up. And so our kids realize that, and we just take one game at a time.
Well, from what you've seen, where you've been and where you're going, does it look like, and it's just an evaluation question, that your team has the ability to make some noise in the playoffs?
I definitely do. Like I said, we're really grown on defense. As each game we get better and better on defense, and we had a few weaknesses early. And they've gotten stronger and stronger and become strong points of our team. And so I really feel like I said, we need, of course, we need to host, a playoff game. Right. We need to be at home, and that's always to your advantage. So I think if we can find a way to host a ball game, I think we can make a good run.
Well, one thing, like you say, when you're counting on your defense, if they can get their job done, as long as you hold that team scoreless or hold them to the minimum number of points, you've always got that better opportunity to win, right?
Yes, no doubt. And that's what I've always been a defense coordinator, and we've always tried to win on defense. And like I said, my defensive coaches are doing a fantastic job with this group, and so like I said, I feel really comfortable going into battle every week.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, your team's been outstanding thus far all year. No reason for that to change much, if any. And so I wish you all the luck in the world. It does seem like you're headed toward a positive playoff with your team in a good position. And so that's what you coach for. That's what the kids play for, is those championships.
Exactly.
But you've done well so far. I wish you the best of luck the rest
Thank
of
you.
the season.
Appreciate it.
And we're going to take a quick break. We come back. A couple athletes very instrumental in the outstanding season the Gophers have had thus far. We'll be right back. You can catch our show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Stitcher, and YouTube. You can also visit us on our social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Be sure to like and subscribe to our platforms. If you have an idea for a show topic or would like to be a sponsor, please email us at castvshow321@gmail.com.
The community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. No, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
At Andrews Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine, orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine, shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Andrews Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, post-operative decisions, pre-operative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making. That gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them. We're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing and as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Andrews Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.
And this will be your premium right here.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say, I combined home and auto with State Farm.
Saved $760.
Love this guy.
Okay, does it bother anybody else that the mime is talking? Freaky.
Bundle home and auto, and you could save $760.
That's 760 very good reasons to call Alan Gurdeau in Trussville today.
And folks, welcome back. You can tell I got two outstanding young athletes sitting here beside me. Closest to me, we've got Chandler Byron. Yes, and Chandler, you're a senior offensive tackle. Yes, sir. And then Tavez Harrison, junior linebacker. Yes, sir. Well, guys, going into this season, and we'll start with you, Chandler. Tell me what were your personal goals for this season and for the team?
Well, last year our running back Roydell Williams had 25 touchdowns on the ground, which was a record for our school. And as we came into the season, we knew, as we had 4 returning offensive linemen that started last year, we knew that we wanted to do better than that. We wanted to get Roydell to that number in the state, try to get that state record for him. And so that's really what we've done all year, is try to beat that record that we had last year.
Well, and it's nice for you as an offensive lineman, it's nice to know that if you guys create the holes, you got somebody that can do something with them, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Trevez, being a linebacker,
yes, sir.
That unit, and Coach and I, we talked a little bit about it. If you hold people scoreless or low, touchdown or 2 or whatever, you got a chance to win every ball game.
Yes, sir.
Talk about you and your defensive teammates and the outstanding year y'all have had thus far.
Every night we just come out trying to compete because we know we got to work for those guys on the other side of the ball. They do the same for us. And every Friday, it's the same thing.
Well, let me ask you now, have you been at Hueytown your whole career?
Yes, sir.
Do you participate in any other sports?
No, sir, I don't.
You don't? It's strictly football. Okay. Chandler, how about you?
No, sir. It's all football all year round.
Okay. Well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And guys, I know one thing about athletes I always enjoy talking to them about is we're a superstitious bunch. A lot of times we shouldn't be. We have little idiosyncrasies about us that we feel like we got to do if we're going to perform well or anything like that. And Chandler, with that thought in mind, are there any things you feel like you got to do a certain way every week?
Mine's definitely the eye black. I have eye black that I go crazy with every Friday night because when I put that eye black on, I feel in the zone, like I'm going to do what I need to do. And unless I have that on, I just don't feel right to play.
Well, it's strange, but it's nice to have something along those lines that gives us a mental lift, that think we can do a little bit better.
Yes, sir.
How about you, Tobias?
It's not really nothing that I do like every Friday. That's a tradition, but I would say my guys motivate me and everything like that.
Well, I tell you what, I talk with a lot of athletes about that, and some of them have pretty bizarre superstitions as far as I'm concerned, but it works for them. But I tell them, I said, you know what, when it's all said and done, it ain't what those superstitions you have, it's what you do. And really, but if you get that mental lift, it's just like, hey, that feels like, makes you feel like you can do a little bit better, doesn't it? Chandler, when you look at that football schedule, what team stands out to you as the one that, hey, I want to play against this bunch?
It was definitely McAdory this week, because, they're our crosstown rival.
Right.
And it's always one of them games where you always just want to suit up and, beat the team that you always see around town. That way you have them bragging rights to say every time you see them that, hey, we beat y'all this time.
Right.
And it's just a close game that we like to play in.
Okay, Trevez, what about you? Is there one you point to? That's the one I'm looking forward to.
I would say McAdory also.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Well, McAdory's got this reputation that they're going to be really good year in and year out. And I think that's what every team wants, to be able to feel that way, But guys, I know 2 things about you before you even come in the room. First of all, I know you're good students, because if you didn't qualify in the classroom, you wouldn't make it to the football field, right?
Yes, sir.
And talking to you, I can tell y'all are pretty good football players. You do your job really well. Now, think about what I'm talking about. There's pressure in the classroom, pressure on the football diamond sometimes. What in the world do you do? And Trevez, we'll start with you. What do you do during the week just to settle down and take the pressure off and just relax?
Well, sometimes after practice, I have time to myself just to get my mind right, get off everything, just take a couple minutes by myself and just watch film. That's about it.
Well, a lot of times, you got to have something that you can step back and not be so dedicated at, where you can just relax and in different ways. And how about you, Chandler?
I like to sit on the couch and watch Netflix, trying to get into a different relaxing mode, just get out of the whole football and school thing and just get into a different world, and I can just chill and just try to take my mind off everything.
Well, like you said, you can't be in a situation where you feel like there's pressure on you all the time. So every once in a while, pressure's good to the degree or to the extent that it brings out the best in us. And talking about that, your team, one of you playing on the offensive side of football, the other on the defensive side of football. And Trevez, Coach and I talked about it, and we touched on it just a little bit. If the other team don't score, then your team's got a better chance of winning, right?
Yes, sir.
So I imagine you and your teammates, you take pride on that defensive side of the ball, right?
Yes, sir.
And so is there, what stands out the most? Is it the team chemistry? Because let me tell you, team chemistry is a funny thing. If you have good chemistry, two things happen. You can be not only good, the best you can be yourself, but you and your teammates will be the best you can be. Mm-hmm. If the chemistry's not good, that's when the dissension comes sometimes. And a lot of times the coaches won't tell you this, but I'll tell you. A lot of times you guys become the coach's best friends sometimes when, let's say you got a teammate that maybe not doing what he ought to be doing or playing the best he can, where the coach might really want to crawl him, but it wouldn't look too good. Or if somebody steps out of line, if y'all take care of business, then it does two things. It takes pressure off him, plus it makes, and on the defensive side, you're a better person and player and teammate, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, it doesn't sound like y'all have had much of a problem like that this year.
No, sir.
And so the goals, and from listening to both you guys, it's got to make you feel pretty good to when you suit up on Friday night to know if you go out there and play the best you can, you got a good chance to win some ball games. Now, Coach and I talked about this just for a second. A lot of times, momentum is a wonderful thing. If you've got it, you can do a lot of things. But if you don't, and you're looking for some consistency, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. So if your team can be as good as it can be, can score, and I know the goal is to score every series, right? Yes, but if you can keep those points adding up, and the way you do that is you keep that positive momentum. And it sounds like you and your teammates have moved the ball pretty good all season long, right?
Yes, sir. Every week we just try to go out there and we just want to control the ball. We want to run the ball, we want to control the clock, and we want to make sure that even if we don't score on that drive, that we can pin them deep for our defense. That way they don't get stuck in a bind of having to stop them on our side of the field. We want to try to keep them in the negative territory.
Right. And from you guys' standpoint, as long as it's a low-scoring game, you've given your team a chance to win every ball game, right? Yes, well, so far, you guys only one loss, which means you're playing really well. And I know the coach and I talked about this, and I know you guys talked about it too. You want to be playing your best football when it counts the most, and that's toward the end of the season when every game determines whether or not you're going to make the playoffs, you're going to play away, you're going to play at home. Yes, and so it sounds like you guys are in a good place, and if you keep on going, that you can do some serious damage in the playoffs, okay?
Yes,
but the one thing is, as we close out this interview, that I'd like to know from both of you, and we'll start with you, Trevez, to this point in your own life, who's been the most inspirational person or persons?
I'll say my mom and my dad. Like, they motivate me a lot, keep pushing and stuff like that.
And they're always behind you, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How about you, Chandler?
It's probably my dad and my mom too, just because whenever I don't hold up to the standards that I know I'm supposed to, they're always right there behind me, showing me the standards and making sure that I stay on them standards all the time and not letting me backtrack in my life, making sure I'm always moving forward.
Well, I tell you what, guys, like I said, you've had an outstanding season thus far, and there's some good things to come, I think, down the road. And keep playing the kind of football you've been playing, and you'll make some serious damage noise in the playoffs, okay?
Yes, sir.
Folks, we've enjoyed visiting with these two young athletes. They've had a great season thus far, and you never can tell. State title may be waiting before the season's over with. We'll take a quick break. We come back, another coach, more athletes. Don't you go away. We'll be right back.
Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven, a taste of
The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors, a company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their number one objective. And folks, welcome back. And as you can tell, I've got my second guest here, head coach that is, and we're talking about Coach Tom Causey of the Pelham Panthers. Coach, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And as we get this interview started, Coach, for people that might be seeing you for the first time, tell us about your background and how you ended up being the head coach there at Pelham.
Well, I started out as a student assistant in the GA at Livingston University when it was Livingston, and then got hired full-time there, was there for 7 years as offensive line coach, and got out of college coaching in 1999 as an assistant at Daleville, was there for 1 year, and took the head job at Dallas County High School, was there for 3 years. Left and went to Andalusia, was there for 4 years in Andalusia, left and went to Demopolis, was there for 8 years, and have been here now at Pelham for 4. So been a little bit everywhere.
Yeah, well, you've seen a lot of different athletes here in the state,
yes, sir.
different places. But as we get this interview underway, tell us a little bit about this year's team, in particular the offensive side, defensive side, and specialty teams.
Well, you know, I think we're senior-led for sure. We're 25 seniors on our football team this year, and all those guys have been through some tough times there the first 3 years, quite honestly. And offensively, we've, you know, I think we've had a pretty good year as far as numbers go, and defensively, we've gotten better every week. Our special teams has been above average for most of the year, and I think it's representative in our record. At 5-3 was not where we want to be, but we've played some tough opponents, and I think we probably had a chance to win every game we've been in, maybe except for one this year. And I'm proud of what we've done. I'm proud of what our guys done. Our guys have kind of taken this. Our senior class has taken this team and run with it, and it's truly their team, and I've been proud of what they've done with it so far.
Well, I know you and I had talked about the season. It's been a little up and down for you thus far, but the one thing about it you talked about, and I think every coach would love to be in this position, first of all, you've gotten better, and you've had your good points and the negative, and a lot of times, for lack of a better way to put it, we'll say growing pains.
Sure.
But at this point in the season, you're at a turning point situation, but you also control your own destiny.
Sure.
And you and I talked about that, and most coaches feel pretty good if you get late into the season and you and your team can determine by the play on the field whether they continue or not.
Well, I like that too. You know, I like putting the game in our guys' hands, and I've got confidence in them and what they're capable of. And you know, like I said, we're a senior-led team, and they know that their days are numbered. And I think it's evident in how they practice every day, how they prepare for games, and I think it's evident in how they've played. They've gotten better each and every week, and you know, that they've learned to practice. They learned what, I think last year this team learned what a Monday practice looks like, what a Tuesday practice looks like. And I think this team, led by our seniors, they understand what it means to prepare for a game, and that it's different each week, and that you have to get back up the next week, and it's not something that carries over automatically. It's not something that just happens. And our guys have done a good job of that this year, because honestly, each and every week has been almost completely different for how we're going to prepare for who we're playing. And that takes a mature football team, and I think we got that.
Well, which side would you describe for your team? Which side would be the stronger suit, the defense?
I don't know if there is one. I really don't. I've seen our team play this year when our defense is playing great and defense carry the offense in a game. I've seen a game where our offense has carried our defense, and then I think we've really played one game this year where it was all together, and it's probably the best game we played this year. And so I wouldn't say either side of the ball is stronger than the other. They've both sides of the ball have carried each other. And I tell you, there's teams that you see when that happens. Sometimes there's finger pointing going on. I've never seen that in this team, and they've encouraged each other. When one side of the ball is carrying the other, you don't hear a lot of complaining coming off the field when they're meeting each other. It's been honestly a lot of fun to be a part of, because they've never quit. They've been down, they've never quit, they've kept fighting all year long, and then we have a chance every time we play when they play like that.
Well, Coach, I think every coach has his own philosophy, like what kind of offense, what kind of defense he would like to run. In that case, having said that, do you more or less want to dictate, is there a certain style you want to play? Or sometimes do the athletes?
We want to win.
Yeah,
we'll do whatever. We'll do whatever it takes to win. We always want to create a 2-on-1, a 3-on-1 situation, however we can, and which gives our guys the best chance to be successful in the ball game, and it gives them a chance to win on Friday night. And so if that means we're going 2-on-1 in a passing game or a run game, or we're going to put pressure off the edge with 2 guys on 1 protector, that's what we're going to do. We're going to always try to put our guys in position to win, and whatever that is that night.
Right. Well, let's look at it from this standpoint. If you had your ruthers, would you prefer your offense, for instance? Would you prefer it to be predominantly a running game, or would you like to open it up?
I honestly don't care. I think you have to be physical and be able to run the football to win a championship, if that's what you're asking. But when we're playing an individual game on an individual night, if we're going to throw, if we throw for 200 yards, let's throw for 200 yards. We run it for 200, let's run for 200. Whatever it takes for us to win the game that night. Now, as a philosophy, as an offense for winning a championship, I think on defense you got to stop the run, and I think you got to be able to run the football and win a state championship, and any championship, honestly. But if you can't go out and run the football, and everybody knows you're one-dimensional and going to throw it, it's tough to protect, and it's tough to keep getting guys down the field and score. But as an individual game goes, whatever it takes that night. And then as far as the philosophy for the season goes, in order for us to win a state championship, we've got to be able to run the football and stop it.
Well, let me ask you this, Coach. You've been in the business a long time. In the years you've seen it, how different is that athlete from when you first started to the one you're dealing with now?
I don't think they're any different athletes. I think they're smarter. I think the athletes today are more informed. I think because of technology I think our coaches in our state are better today than they've ever been. I think our kids are more into being a better player and a well-rounded player, and I think the kids are smarter today than they've ever been.
In my mind, and I wonder if you would agree with this, in my mind today, high school athletics is as enjoyable as it's ever been.
I think it's as good as it's ever been. I think our communities, I think our state, I think our schools have made a commitment to high school athletics. And, in the state of Alabama, you got college athletics in high school. There's not a professional other than minor league. And I think it's as good as it's ever been right now. High school athletics as a whole, but especially football.
Well, I know that when you and I talked on the telephone the other day, the one thing we talked about is a team peaking at the right time of the season. And so in your estimation, are your guys playing as well as they played? Because we talked about that's what most coaches want, the nearer you get to the end of the year.
I don't think we're peaking. I think this team has gotten better every week. Now, I think in the course of a year, you're going to have some down games, and I think we've had one. And other than that week, I think we've consistently gotten better every week. And I think everybody in the state would like to play their best ball in the last game they're going to play. And if you're in the playoffs, you don't know when that's going to be. So hopefully the best game we play will be the last one we play.
Well, I know as we're in this conversation, I know you and I talked about that you like the fact that your team is right where they ought to be and you want them to be, because y'all will determine how farther down the road you want to go.
Sure.
And I think that's what every coach wants to be able to say.
Absolutely.
So, Coach, I wish you continued success. And one thing about it, if you're playing your best ball, and you know this as well as I do because you've been in the business as long as I have, once you get in the playoffs and you're playing your best, a lot of good things can happen.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you're hoping that's what lies ahead for you and your players.
Well, that's what we're expecting. We're expecting our guys to be that way because they've honestly learned to work every day to get better every day. I think this senior group has learned the value of the importance of one rep, how important that one rep is, and because you never know. You never know when that one rep in the game is going to be the one.
Well, Coach, we wish you continued success, and the best football for your team is still ahead.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, 4 young athletes have been very instrumental in the outstanding season Pelham's had thus far. We'll be right back.
And this will be your premium right here.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say I combined home and auto with State Farm.
Saved $760.
Love this guy.
Okay, does it bother anybody else that the mime is talking? Freaky.
Bundle home and auto, and you could save $760.
That's 760 very good reasons to call Alan Gurdeau in Trussville today.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine and orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine with shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Andrew Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, post-operative decisions, pre-operative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making that gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them, we're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing and as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.
Land of Frost Premium is America's best-selling 1-pound deli pouch, now available in 12 delicious flavors, including new flavors of mesquite turkey and cotto salami. High school athletes across the country ask for Land of Frost by name. These great items are available at your local grocer, including Piggly Wiggly, Food Giant, Western supermarkets, and many more. Land of Frost also makes other varieties of lunch meats, including deli shaved bistro and sub sandwich kits. Land of Frost is a proud sponsor of youth sports as well. And folks, welcome back. As you can tell, I got 4 outstanding young athletes sitting with me that have been very instrumental in the play of the Pelham Panthers thus far this year, sitting closest to me. Oh, and let me ask you, are all you guys seniors, by the way? Okay. All these guys are seniors. Casey Clark, tight end, and Brandon Sledge, you're a slot wide receiver, right? And then Ryan Jewell, a linebacker, and then finally Braden Lee and nose guard. All right, guys, going into this year, y'all have expectations. Everybody wants to go undefeated, but with that thought in mind, and we'll start with you, Casey, what were your expectations not only for yourself, but for the team?
Like Coach said earlier, honestly, just getting better every single week, every single day, making sure that this next play is better than the play before. And then if we had that mindset, I think we're going to end up right where we want to end up.
Okay. How about you, Brandon?
Mine would probably be leaving a legacy for the guys behind us and working hard each and every day to win the state championship.
Well, that sounds great. Ryan, how about you?
My expectations for myself was to be a great leader for the team and all the underclassmen. And as a team and as a whole, is to leave a legacy and go as far as we can.
Okay, Brayden?
Well, basically, I just wanted to have fun this year. I wanted everybody to work as hard as they could and have fun while they're doing it. So I feel like we've done that so far, and I'm excited to see how we do for the rest of the season.
Well, now, Casey, when you look at your schedule and you see the teams that y'all are playing, who are the ones that you look up there and say, gosh, I can't wait for that game?
Oh, definitely Helena. I mean, that's just the rivalry. But, once you get scheduled out, every single game you look forward to, especially with it being the last year, you don't want to take that for granted. So they all look good, but that one at the end, that Helena one.
How about you, Brandon?
I'm about to go with Helena too.
Really?
Out of everybody in Helena.
Yeah, do you know anybody from there, or is that just a rivalry game you enjoy?
That's been started since we were in the league. So.
Oh, okay. Ryan, how about you?
Every game's pretty important. Every game's, it's going to be a fun game, but I had to say Helena.
Okay. Brayden?
Yeah, I'm going to have to say Helena too. Ever since I started playing football, I've been excited about this game every year, and I've wanted to beat them every single year. So.
Okay, well, we'll start with you. Being a nose guard, what professional or college athlete do you enjoy watching and say, golly, I wish my game was like that?
Well, I basically look up to J.J. Watt. That's one of the reasons I changed my number to 99 this season, because I've always looked up to him as a person and an athlete. I'd like to be like him one day.
Well, I was going to say, if you're just about this much like him, you're going to be a pretty doggone good football player. Yeah. How about you, Ryan?
That's a hard one. I guess I'd have to say plays for the Chargers, Denzel Perryman. He's a linebacker. And his height, he doesn't let his height have any disadvantage on him, so he goes out there and plays his heart out.
Well, a lot of times not the height, it's the heart, right? Yeah. How about you, Brandon?
I'm going to have to go with the cheetah, Tyreek Hill.
Right.
Because he's short, and I'm short, and he's fast.
You got to have a thing that you do better than the other guys, and if they can't catch you, it don't matter what size. Okay, and then how about you, Casey?
Jason Witten. He's played for the Cowboys, and now he's retired. But I try to play like he does, because he wasn't the best one out there, but he was the smartest one. And he was a good guy off the field. So.
Okay. Well, the one thing I know about athletes, and because I was one 50 years ago, believe it or not, but you're a superstitious bunch. A lot of times we like to do things the same way, or if we don't do this or don't do that, we're not going to be as successful. With that kind of thought in mind, Casey, what would that be for you if you had to do something that way?
I can't tell you. I mean, that's the break of superstition. Can't tell you superstition.
Oh, now
I got a bunch of them.
You do?
Yes, sir.
You can't sneak out just one of them?
I don't know.
Say the worst one and you keep the best ones?
That's tough. I'll tell you, it's break of superstition.
Well, I'm not going to do that to you. Brandon, what about you? You don't let superstitious stuff bother you. You just get out and play. You get out and play. Okay. Ryan, how about you?
I do not have one.
You don't have one. Boy, you guys you're a different bunch. I will tell you that. Brayden?
I really don't have one either.
I'm telling you that. That's surprising me. Well, going into this season, did you think, and Casey, we'll start with you, that you and your teammates had the makeup of maybe a potential playoff team?
Oh, absolutely. Our first 3 years here, like Coach said, that was a struggle, but I feel like our class really built this. And, coming in this year, we're the closest we've ever been. Every single guy loves every single guy. That locker room this year is the strongest that we've ever had it. So coming in this year, it was a definite that this was going to be a good one.
And Brandon, we'll keep going down that line a little bit. The thing about team chemistry, it's a very important thing, because if your team chemistry is good, you're going to be the best you can be, not only as an individual but a team. But if it's not, then there are a lot of distractions, and it can be a negative thing. From that standpoint, talk about the chemistry of this year's team.
I think all these seniors, we get it. we all have the same goal, and that's to come to practice each and every day and give our best. And really, all we see is that ring.
When all you guys being seniors, how important, Ryan, to you as a senior trying to put together the best possible year you can, because you know this is it?
This is really important to do that, and like you said, we're all trying to reach the one goal that our team has set is get to state. And when you said, how do I feel about us being a playoff team, I think we can contend or compete for a state championship, but our worst enemy is ourselves. We always shoot ourselves in the game, and we can compete with any team we go up against, and that's how I feel. But yeah, but being a senior and trying to lead this team and trying to leave a legacy and how we need to set it, and when we leave, keep going on and just keep progressing on that. So that's how I feel.
When talking along those lines, Braden, what is it you try to do to make sure the negative things don't sneak in? Like you said, you know y'all make mistakes, but you can overcome mistakes in a positive way, or you can let them bring you down.
I try to keep my head up when I'm on the sideline, and I try to just keep everybody hyped and ready to go. Like even if we're getting beat, we know that we can come back, and it's really not a problem for us. But just keep that team chemistry up by keeping our heads up. That's what's really carried us all year.
All right, now I wanted to find out about the superstitions or whatever you might have. So I'm going to ask another question that's simpler. I know all of you, I know two things about you. One, you are pretty smart in the classroom, or you wouldn't be out there playing football. If you can't qualify, you don't get there. And then also, you're out there and you're putting through the work on that football field. So you got to do something to take the edge off, to relax a little bit, because there's a lot of pressure in the classroom, a lot of pressure on the diamond. And we'll start with you, Braden. What do you do to unwind or just relax and have a nice, quiet time for you?
Really, I like to put my headphones in and listen to music when I'm at home. I try to relax. I try not to talk to anybody. I try to just keep to myself.
Okay. Ryan, how about you?
It's along the same lines. I'll either play some music, or I'll go to the gym, or just try to really work on myself, and I'm by myself, just kind of talk to myself, work on myself.
Okay, how about you, Brandon?
Same, kind of play some music, or I'll play PlayStation with my friends,
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. That takes the edge off a little bit. Casey, how about you?
Well, I'm going to break from the superstition here, but I just kind of hang around my mom and my dad, talk to them, just kind of be around my family.
Well, I tell you what, guys, the coach and I have talked about it, and I'm sure you guys talk about it. It'd be great if you're undefeated right now. That'd be great. That's what y'all shoot for. But I think the best thing for you guys and the attitude you have toward being the best you can be is you control your destiny right now. And so with that thought in mind, I wish you all the luck in the world the last 2 or 3 games of the year. Get into the playoffs, and then it's a whole new ball game, as the old saying goes. But the last question I've got for you guys, and I really appreciate you coming in, and we'll start with you, Casey. To this point in your life, who's been the most inspirational persons?
Definitely my parents. They've been the biggest supporters and pushers of me. But as far as at Pelham High School, it's definitely been Coach Cosby.
Great. Okay. How about you, Brandon?
My parents, and I'm not going to leave out my teammates, but my teammates been very helpful, and Coach Cosby.
Good for you. Ryan?
Definitely my mom and my stepdad and my Coach Causey over there, and more importantly, religion. Go back to religion, Jesus. I talk to him when I can.
Well, good for
get some
you.
problems off.
Braden?
I'm gonna have to say my grandparents. My grandfather especially. He's always called me after the games and told me if I had a bad game, keep my head up and stuff, and I always pushed through. And definitely Coach Causey, he's always held a hand above me, knowing that I could reach my full potential.
Well, I tell you what, guys, you're in a good place right now because you're still in a great position to not only make the playoffs, but if you get there, possibly do some damage. And the most important thing is there's a championship out there for somebody. Why can't it be the Panthers, right?
Yes,
but guys, awfully good to see you. Good luck to you the rest of the way. And I know you're all seniors, whatever endeavor, wherever you're off to college to, whatever you decide to do in the future, best of luck to you, okay?
Thank you.
And folks, we've had outstanding coaching, outstanding athletes that we've been with tonight. We'll do it again next week. Till then, you know what the snapper always says, bicycle. You can catch our show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Stitcher, and YouTube. You can also visit us on our social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Be sure to like and subscribe to our platforms. If you have an idea for a show topic or would like to be a sponsor, please email us at castvshow321@gmail.com.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine, orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine with shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Andrew Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, post-operative decisions, pre-operative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making. That gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them. We're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.